All right, hi, and happy 4th of July. We haven't said that yet, but we just wanted to say, hope you guys had a blessed and wonderful time celebrating with your family or friends or whatever you choose to do. Matt and I are blessed, even though it's not everyone has that, but both our families do things. So we've tried to see both sides of the family when they do things, but it's a super fun time. His aunt has a huge thing with like games and a nice pool. And then my aunt and uncle have a nice pool, so we've gone over there. There is a movie. What's the name of it? Have you seen the previews for it?
No.
Oh.
What?
Now I feel like I shouldn't even bring it up. But Matt wants to see it on 4th of July, and it's about a true story of rescuing kids from sex trafficking.
Wow.
Freedom. Something freedom.
Okay.
So
we'll look it up and put it in the show notes.
Yeah, look it up, put it in the show notes. But it is so great to see you. Thank you for tuning in. Save, share, and subscribe to our channel. To everybody, our main goal is to bless you, bless your families, and help you grow in your walk with God. Well, this show is a little shorter, but we felt it important and necessary to get it across to you, and it is called 35 Minutes. We ran across a statistic that the average parent spends 35 minutes a day with their children. Let that sink in. 35 minutes. Well, it might not surprise you. It might be because I've seen and heard and know different families that their family is like a train station. Their house is like a train station. They're eating breakfast, they're throwing a piece of toast in their mouth. It's not really that they have a minute to look in each other's eyes or do a Bible study or things like that. But we challenge you as we're doing this show called 35 Minutes to kind of stop. If you want to make an impact in this world and in other people's lives and in your children's lives, it's not going to happen in 35 minutes a day. It's just not. But we want to go 2 different avenues on this show. First of all, we want to say that time is precious. We really do. We want to say that every single minute that you can spend with your children, cherish it. Teach them to love. Be an example. Show them what it means to be someone that loves Jesus and that lives their life in a righteous way means. But also, be someone that is different. Also, change that trajectory in your family. Break those generational curses of busyness. Like there's generational curses of witchcraft and of drinking and of drugs and of divorce and of adultery. All these things. Break that cultural chain of what is going on right now and making it seem like that buzzword busy is so important in your family. Don't be too busy to plan a game night, to take your kids and teach them how to make banana bread. But what we want to talk about in that show is that 35 minutes, what it looks like to stop that right now and change things for you and for your family. Make a U-turn.
Yeah, 35 minutes is not, like when Laura told me that statistic, I was speechless. Like it doesn't even register in my brain, especially as a homeschool mom.
Yeah.
I see my kids, I feel like 24/7, like there's no real break. So I had to kind of think about the culture. I had to think about everybody around me and how they live their lives. Mm-hmm. And okay, yes, I could understand how that might be a thing. If we took our kids to public school, they played baseball, I probably wouldn't see my kids until they got home and brushed their teeth and went to bed. And that would be our focus time. So then I thought, for 35 minutes, if that was what our house looked like, if I had 35 minutes with my kids, I would be texting them regularly. Not to make them, seem weird about it, but I would be texting them and I would be inputting myself into their life wherever I could, leave notes for them. Mm-hmm. My mom used to write notes for us with dry erase marker on the bathroom mirror.
I love that. Yeah.
So, because she didn't get up as early as I did, so I wouldn't see her. So she would leave notes on the bathroom mirror. And I thought, okay, I could do that. Yes. I could do that with my kids. Or leave a journal. You could journal with your kids, mm-hmm. and you write something, leave it under their pillow, and they can write back and leave it under your pillow, and just do it as you have time for it.
And I did that for years with my kids, and now I've kept it as something they're going to take as momentum when they, leave.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. That's wonderful. Your turn.
Well, You were saying just with the sports and school and things like that, I've seen as Sebastian got older, my oldest, that when he graduated, he got a job at Chick-fil-A. That was so time consuming and we weren't used to it because even though, yes, he was in public school and in baseball, our family ate dinner every night. Like he ate with us every night for dinner. We had Sundays where we'd go to church and did stuff as a family on Sundays, unless it might be like a close family or a friend was having a birthday party and invite us over, but we'd be together on Sundays. Even the kids wondered what we were doing on a Friday or Saturday. It might not be every minute on the weekend we were together, but they were with us. And so to go that we would see him all in that like vicinity to not, because he worked like 4 or 5 nights a week, or if he was not working, he was trying to squeeze in to see his girlfriend or friends. And we were not like low on the priority. It was just different, like having that balance. But he still lives at our house. And so there are parents that might travel for their job or do different things, but it should be, okay, this is how I'm going to describe it to you. And this is how I've told many people that I've mentored along the way or for my own kids. When you are choosing to walk with God, it is a walk, but that does not mean you're going to be close with God all at once. And it doesn't mean that you're going to feel close with him each and every day, but it does mean that it should be weird to you to not wake up and spend your first moments with God, giving your cares to Jesus, Matthew 11:28, giving your burdens, putting on a worship song, or you're singing your own worship song, that whether your prayer is 5 minutes, half an hour, whether your reading is one verse, one chapter, that is you getting your spiritual strength from God in the morning. And if you don't do that, it should be weird to you, because then as time goes on, you are spiritually starved. We can all relate to whether we're fasting or whether we've been really sick or what it looks like to feel starving or that word hangry, because you're angry and hungry at the same time. So you want to eat so bad. You end up lashing out because you're irritated. You're irritable, whatever that looks like. We all know the sense of being physically hungry. We all know what it means to be mentally drained. Those are all normal things we can talk about. But why is it not okay to say that we're spiritually starved? We're spiritually searching for something to fill us spiritually. Well, the only thing that could fill you spiritually is Jesus. That's it. So the reason why you don't feel close to God is because you're not putting in that time. So we can put this 35 minutes on everything. We really can. I spend more time in the morning than 35 minutes, in my time with God, but it's also all throughout the day. It's everything that's coming up. I'm constantly asking Jesus, well, what do you think about that? Well, you heard and saw the way that she talked to me. Talk to her. Change Matt's heart about this, or whatever it is, whatever it looks like. Bless them. I'm asking you right now. I need you to do this. Help me to have an interaction with someone at the grocery store that might be having a rough day. That is all throughout the day. So if it should be weird to us and we would feel spiritually empty to not have that time with God, how do you think your kids feel? If the time that you spend with them is minimal, it should feel weird to you. It should not feel, like we said in our show, your calling as a mother. It should not feel normal to you to have these children and to have them entrusted to you by God, but to have it not matter to you how you have nurtured them during the day. It should not feel normal to you that you have not encouraged them even once. It should not feel normal to you that you have not said one kind word, that it doesn't matter to you if there's any food in the pantry, or you haven't planned anything throughout the week for you to have a meal together. Or yes, maybe your kids do their own laundry, but is there laundry soap? Is there dish soap for them if they do the dishes or you're doing the dishes or things like that? Odd little thing, but when my husband and I were going to go away, my son was going to be home, my other 2 kids were at camp, I was like, dang it, there's not toothpaste for him. And there just wasn't. And it's because the 2 kids took toothpaste to camp. Matt and I had a little one, and he doesn't have any. Okay, he can go to the store and buy toothpaste, but that was in my mind of just the care and concern. I can't tell you how many parents or stories or situations I've either known about or read about where those things aren't on parents' radars. So that's where this statistic has become normal, because it has been pushed and pushed strongly by the enemy to get in the middle of nuclear families and make it seem like your family is not important, make it seem like your family is not strong, make it seem like your family should not stand on God's word or have strong bonds. I don't know this guy's name, but he is a little nuts and like this known kind of groomer for kids. But a new thing that's coming is the no contact. Like that if you are choosing that lifestyle, if you want to be, trans or whatever you're going to be choosing, that is not the godly lifestyle God wants you to live, not resting in who God made you to be. But this guy's pushing, you can find him online, I just can't remember his name, but the no contact. Like that's what he did. Well, he looks like a guy or girl, but that's what he did. And so he's saying, if you do this, you can find me and I'll be your friend. That's not good.
But no contact with the with your family?
Yeah.
With the people that don't agree with you?
Yes.
Okay.
And he was saying what he did was no contact with anybody now, not his siblings, parents, extended family, cousins, grandparents, anybody. This is totally against what God says in his word, and know that. Know that. And so talk to your children. And so in 35 minutes a day, it's hard to have those conversations. So whatever the conversations might look like, whether it's like Wendy said, in your car, driving them somewhere. There was a parenting book that I read, how to listen so your kids will talk. Such a great book. Oh my gosh, it's so good. But she says, if it's 11 o'clock at night and you haven't seen your kid, you best be drinking a cup of coffee and waking yourself up and taking them to get a burrito so you can have a conversation with them. Like, you need to be looking intentionally for those opportunities. If this is what your family looks like and you only have those 35 minutes, but what are you doing with it? Like, what are you doing with those 35 minutes? My oldest, like I said, it changed once he got a job. But my husband and I still look for, okay, what is this going to look like for us to pour into him while he's still living at our house? So after church, a couple weeks ago, we had dropped our other two kids off at camp, and I asked him and his fiance, hey, can we, after dropping off at camp, go visit Grandma? They call her Great Gram. She's not doing too well. And then we'll take you guys to eat. And they said, yeah. So the whole time in the car, we said, what is your favorite Christian song or songs that have spoken to your life right now? So we talked about other things, but then we did that. There was a little bit of traffic. Visited my grandma for longer than I thought, which I was talking to Wendy about also. We thought we could visit her and then go to this restaurant. Well, this restaurant ended up being closed. But the visit was long because Sebastian hadn't seen her for a while. So him putting in that time just showed that closeness of his relationship with her. And he wouldn't have that relationship if she didn't stay with us so much after she'd had a stroke for the last 6 years. All of that is time. That's what it is. It doesn't happen in one day. It doesn't happen in one night. It's not one conversation. And then we went to eat with them, took them out. But that's how we are looking for those opportunities in the different stages that our kids have been. In Ecclesiastes, I encourage you to read the whole book. It's so good. But chapter 3 is really good. But it says a time for everything. When you're a young mom, you might just think, oh my gosh, I can't even be with my kids for 35 minutes because you're like, that's a mess and everything's nuts and they don't listen. Embrace it. It was the cutest thing. Matt told one of our young couples that we just love so much, and she's new mom, 3-month-old, but was saying that baby's not on the schedule, hasn't been sleeping, and she's so exhausted. And Matt's like, I just have one thing to tell you. And she was like, schedule? And he goes, no, embrace it. And he goes, it goes fast. A time for everything. For in everything there's a season, a time for every activity under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to harvest, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build up, a time to cry and a time to laugh, a time to grieve and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to turn away, a time to search and a time to quit searching, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to love and a time to hate, and a time for war and a time for peace. What do people get for all of their hard work? I have seen God has placed on it all, yet God made everything beautiful in its own time. God's the author of time. We shouldn't just be scrambling thinking, oh my gosh, 35 minutes. If that's after you listen to this, that is not our point of having you hear this show. Our point is to let you know that time is precious. And so is there things that you cannot be doing at this time where your kids are only within your care for these certain amount of years? Or if there's not anything that you can take off right now, what are you doing with those precious moments that you have?
Yeah. We have Deuteronomy 6:4-9.
Yes.
And it says, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength. These commandments that I give you today are to be upon your hearts." Here we go. "Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home, when you walk along the road, when you lie down, and when you get up. Tie them as symbols on your hands and bind them on your foreheads. Write them on your door frames of your houses and on your gates." I don't know how we're supposed to do that in 35 minutes a day.
No.
Any of that.
Right.
When you walk along the road or drive in your car, it takes 10, 15 minutes to get to school. Let's use that time. Let's do something with that time. We could listen to a podcast together, but we could also talk to each other.
Yes.
Let's ask them some questions. Let's, like you said, sit there and listen.
Yeah.
So that they talk.
I've had a kid recently that said, "I want my family to play games," but they don't. They're just on their screens. So know that in the things that might seem ridiculous, well, I should have my time, that I should be able to scroll through my phone. Well, I should be able to get a massage. Well, I should be able to do this. Yes, some of those things are what we talk about now, self-care, whatever. Okay, but this is important. And this 35 minutes is short. And I even want to relate it with so many different things. Like, do you see your parents? Do you invest in friendships? Do you have time with your husband? This 35 minutes is staggering. It really is. But what does it look like in every area? We should not be so stretched thin that it's such a burden for us to spend more than that amount of time with our children, with our spouse, go to coffee with a friend, leave for the whole day and go drive up to the mountains or go do something spontaneous. All of those things are things that are going to not only build spiritually into you and your family and your relationships, but that's how God created us. He really did. And it's not going to happen in just that amount of time. It's going to be over those moments in that season. But change things today. Let that 35 minutes not be you.
Yeah. Yep. Change the course, break the chain, break the cycle, and do something different with your time with your kids and your family.
Yes. All right. God bless. We're praying for you. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.
Bye.